for Bring Your Own Lunch. Personal stories about the business with my daddy, Dave T. Koenig.
All right, come on in, have a seat. Welcome. This is the Bring Your Own Lunch podcast at bringyourownlunch.com, the magic of iTunes, the majesty of Stitcher, and however you found your way to download this podcast, I thank you. As you heard at the top, my name is Dave T. Koenig. I'm an actor, writer, director, producer, comedian, all-around swell dude. I'm getting reacquainted with the Bard. I'll explain. And of course, I'm the host of the podcast you're listening to right now. BYOL is the hashtag we use if you want to reach out on social media. We're out there. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/bringyourownlunch. You can follow us on Twitter at BYOL Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Bring Your Own Lunch. And of course, our home base, the website, bringyourownlunch.com, where you can find out all the information about all the guests we've had on this show, past, present, and presumably future, as well as my personal email address if you want to reach out that way, dave@bringyourownlunch.com. Now, the last couple of weeks, my guests were people who I hadn't quite gotten fully acquainted with until I sat down for the interview. That was a really cool experience, getting to meet some new people. And this week, we're going to take a completely different tack, where I'm getting a chance to sit down with an old friend of mine, Miranda Jonte. She's an actor, she is a playwright, she is a producer, but more importantly than that, she is my friend in this business, and I'm happy to say that she is. I figured out we've known each other for, I think, about 10 years, if not a little bit more than that, and we've managed to work on a couple of projects together, and I value her friendship, and she's always so kind and so nice, so I'm glad to have a chance to sit down and chat with her about what she's doing and all the things that make her her, and find out her background, because one of the things I love about this podcast is that I get to talk to people sometimes who I've known for 10 years, but I get to really fill in a lot of blanks, and hopefully for you, you get to get a real grip on what a working professional in this business has done to get to the point they're at now. And Miranda's been through some ups and downs in the business, and I think it's made her a more interesting and more effective playwright and a much more well-rounded performer. And I think I relate to her in that way because I didn't start off right out of the bat out of acting school 21 years old, getting signed by a big agency. No, I wasn't even in the business for the first bunch of my 20s, and I found myself getting back into it. And I think at the age I'm at now, I feel more confident and well rounded as a person, and I bring that to the table whenever I work on a project. And I think a lot of what I find out in talking to Miranda throughout this interview, that's something she and I share. And we both kind of have a relationship, I guess, with our look that's very unique to our character actor selves. And I think if you're somebody who is a potential character actor, somebody who doesn't necessarily fit into the leading man thing, you can know that there are people out there who don't fit into that leading man or leading woman thing, but can lead really fascinating careers and make opportunities for themselves. So we find out about the stuff that she's written, particularly a couple of plays called Greasemonkey and St. Francis that Miranda has brought to the world and is now trying to get in front of as many people as possible. Let's see what motivates somebody to get on that path, and not just get on the path, but stay on the road and maintain their career presenting new works to the world and providing themselves with opportunity. So I think it's a very instructive thing that this interview turns into, as far as somebody who sees themselves not quite necessarily fitting into the cookie cutter mold, but still has a lot to bring to the table, and that's what Miranda is doing right now. So I hope you enjoy that, and I hope you find her to be as interesting as I always have. Now, she and I met each other going back to, I believe it was 2004. She and I were both cast in a show called Shameless. It was a play written by a young playwright named Zayd Dohrn. Now, Zayd, brilliantly talented, and this was one of his first big productions in New York City. And I think the cast he assembled was terrific. I've kept in touch with many of them, including Miranda. And throughout, I think we all just felt that there was something very special about this production. Even though it was an off Broadway kind of thing, I think we knew there was something to this, and I think we all shared a bond over this production. And it turns out we were right. Let me preface. When I was younger, one of my favorite films was a little film called Running on Empty. It was in a time of mostly big studio blockbusters. This was a much more independent type film. It starred River Phoenix and Judd Hirsch and JoBeth Williams, Martha Plimpton. Fantastic acting, brilliant story about a family who was on the run from the FBI and who didn't have the luxury of living a standard life. They were constantly changing their names and changing their identities and changing their locations to keep one step ahead of the people who were chasing them, in this case, the FBI. Heartbreaking stuff, and especially the character River Phoenix played, who was a young man who was in high school and was a very talented pianist and was never able to pursue his own life because he was following along the family's path of running away from the FBI. Always loved that movie, and never really had a chance to talk to too many people who also loved it as much as I did, but I always thought it was amazing. Flash forward to 2004, and we're in rehearsals for Shameless, that Zayd Dohrn wrote, and he also directed. Every once in a while, his parents would show up, seemed like very nice people, chatted with them for, a little while, and never really thought much about it. But at some point, I started to look into Zayd and to look into his parents. And it turns out that Zayd's parents, Bernadine Dohrn and Bill Ayers, were two of the leaders of a group called the Weather Underground. It started as a student protest organization at the University of Michigan, but grew into a radical left-wing activist group. They were responsible for many acts of civil disobedience, and rather than color what I'm saying here with a ham-fisted description of some of the cases that they were involved in, I will leave you to do your research by yourself on the Weather Underground. There's a fantastic documentary about them out, and you can determine for yourself how you feel about their actions and what they did and what it meant in the grand scheme of things. But suffice it to say that for a time, Bernadine Dohrn was one of the top 10 most wanted people by the FBI, and Bill Ayers himself also similarly wanted by the FBI because of some of the actions of the Weather Underground. Ultimately, charges were dropped against the Weather Underground. However, the names Bernadine Dohrn and Bill Ayers still have a very specific connotation for some people because of their activities in the 60s. Now, Zayd, he really had nothing to do with any of that stuff, except, well, while his mother was wanted by the FBI, Zayd and his family sometimes kind of lived on the run. And the movie Running on Empty is at least loosely based on his life experience. The River Phoenix character, that was Zayd Dohrn. I always found that to be an amazing coincidence that I knew that movie chapter verse, and here I was working with the family who literally lived that life. Fascinating stuff. And it all became very funny later on in 2008 during the presidential elections of that year. Now President Barack Obama as a candidate was criticized by Sarah Palin. She said that candidate Obama was hanging around with terrorists. And that's because Bill Ayers, after he left the activism game, went into higher education like his wife, and became a professor at the University of Illinois at Chicago, where he also had contact with Barack Obama. So the terrorists that Sarah Palin was referring to when she said Obama was hanging around with terrorists was Bill Ayers. And Bill Ayers was also hanging around the rehearsals of Shameless, which meant that if hanging around Bill Ayers made Barack Obama a terrorist, it also made me a terrorist. But I'm pretty sure I've never done any terrorism. Just a thought. All right, putting that aside, I have a couple things I can announce. I am going to be taking part in a project called Macbeth Transformed. It's a very unique presentation of the Shakespeare classic Macbeth, and that'll be happening at Access Theater, 380 Broadway, 4th floor in New York. Tickets are only $10. Now, they're going to be running several dates throughout April, but I'm only going to be taking part in select performances. I'm playing the Porter in Macbeth on April 3rd, April 15th, and April 16th at 7 p.m., the evening performances. I'm very excited to be doing that. I'm kind of jumping in last minute and having a chance to play one of the most fun characters William Shakespeare ever wrote, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. So if you want to come see Dave live, and see some Shakespeare at the same time, well, here's a chance. Just go to the website. I'll have the information for where to find tickets and more about the show and dates and stuff like that on the website in the show notes for this episode. But it would be great to see you there. Also, I'm going to be taking part in a special evening of shorts. This is something that came up after the interview that I'll be doing with Miranda Jonte. She and her cohorts are going to be doing a very special event at the Eleanor Monroe Film Center in the amphitheater. That's at 144 West 65th Street, just west of Broadway. This will be Tuesday, May 12th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. And it's a fundraiser for Miranda's activity. She'll tell you a little bit more about it during the interview, but she asked me to take part in a couple of short plays that were written by John Minnigan, and you'll find out more about him as well during the interview, but I'm excited to be part of the event, and I'm honored that Miranda asked me to take part, so I'm happy to pass along the info to you and hopefully encourage you to spend some money and put it towards a good cause of live theater and the original art. And if you want to find out more about that, you can go to the website www.heyjonte.com. That's HEYJONTE.com. That's Miranda's official website, and we will talk more about that as well in a little bit. Oh, and don't forget, if you want, you can check out the episode of The Following that I'm in. That's April 13th on Fox. The episode's called Flesh and Blood, and if you happen to check out Daredevil on Netflix on April 10th, I'm in an episode of that as well. All right, before we get into the interview, got to thank Banuba, banuba.net, BANOOBA.net. That's the band that provides the music at the beginning, middle, and end of this show. They are great. Go to their site, find out where they will be playing live, download some of their music, buy their music, and man, this show isn't the show unless they're involved. So, of course, got to thank them. And if you have a moment, please, you want to help the show out, go to iTunes or Stitcher and rate, review, subscribe to this show. Let iTunes know to tell other people to listen to this show. And if you really like it, go tell a friend or 2 friends or 3 friends. Get more people involved because this show is much more fun when more people are involved. All right, let's get into it with Miranda Jonte, actor, playwright, producer, my friend, all from Lincoln Center. Here's Miranda. Enjoy. Where are we right now?
We're at Lincoln Center in New York City.
How the hell are we in Lincoln Center? How did we get access to this place? Because I'm pretty amazed that I'm actually sitting here.
I'm actually pretty lucky. I'm friends with a guy named Glenn, who's the operations manager for the Film Society of Lincoln Center. And a few years ago, I said, "Are you hiring?" He said, "It's funny you should ask." And I started working here, and we went from being the Walter Reed Theater to adding on to the Eleanor Monroe Theater.
Wow.
Sister theaters. And we've worked here for long enough that we're often granted amazing access to use these spaces.
I mean, it's an amazing space.
It's pretty nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, this particular building is what?
It was done in 2011.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty new. People kind of marvel when they walk in. It used to be a garage. I don't know if you could tell, the floor is cement.
Oh, no, I didn't even notice. I was just looking around at how many, neat things there are. I mean, when you walked in.
You should see the theaters.
Yeah, and they call the theater exactly what? I know you mentioned it to me and I can't remember.
The Eleanor Monroe, that's the name of the building.
Okay.
But as you walk in, we walked through the amphitheater, and I love the amphitheater.
Yeah, it's very cool.
The largest flat screen TV in the world. You're a boy, you'll like that. And on the left is the Francesca Beale Theater, and then we have the Gilman Theater on the right. And you should go inside and look. They're kind of old school 60s. They're cool. Yeah,
very cool. What kind of stuff happens here?
We show independent movies, documentaries. We do retrospectives, but those are usually held across the street at the Reed. Like, we'll do a Clint Eastwood retrospective, like all of the movies he was in, all the ones he directed. I saw it. It was really great. Here we're showing movies that they show like at Lincoln Plaza.
Okay.
Independence documentaries, foreign films.
Right.
And in the amphitheater, we'll have events, we'll have talkbacks. The reason I got familiar with Breaking Bad, which I tried it out, I thought, I can't live in this world. It's too bleak. It was the first 2 episodes. If you've seen it,
it's bleak, all right,
that.
yeah.
But when season 5 came, it was such a big deal because they split it up into 2 halves.
Oh, right.
And when they began season 5 again, what we, the Film Society, did, it was really cool. We decided to have a marathon of all the seasons. And when the second half of season 5 began, we had the cast come in and the director and the writers. It was such a hot ticket. But they stationed a staff inside the theaters because we would show here in the amphitheater like all of season 1, all of season 2.
Oh, wow.
And that was free, and people could come in on a rotating basis. Once you were in, you had to sit there and watch it. And once you left, someone else could come in to take your spot. And he stationed me inside.
Nice.
And I was able to see it. And I said, I think I have to watch this.
Yeah.
So we do things like that. It's really cool.
Amazing stuff. So you've had some pretty high rollers come into this place.
Do you know how beautiful Ray Fiennes is in person?
I can only imagine.
I don't get starstruck. I made a fucking fool of myself. I'm really glad his back was turned. But my coworker was across the way, and I just started gesturing and pointing and mouthing, "Oh my God, look who it is." Yeah. I look like such an ass. But he's tall and golden and broad-shouldered and beautiful.
Yeah, the jerk.
We've had some pretty high rollers in here, but the ones that are really cool, they act like it's not a big deal.
Isn't that the best?
It's so cool. Sam Shepard came up and he
wow.
said, one ticket for, he came to see this French movie like 4 times. And I looked up and I said, is that, is it general? Is it senior? And he looked at me, he said, "What do you think?"
But he still looks pretty good, right? Like Sam Shepard.
Alan Alda just kind of made everyone melt.
Really?
The most recognizable voice in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
The coolest people I know. They're cool as cucumbers. Like, we really like your work, Mr. Alda. Yeah,
so everybody got humbled.
Humbled and grateful because Alan Alda, he ended up keeping MASH going and producing it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, grew up with that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a really big deal because of, what he brought to us and what he did.
Yeah. And everything I've heard about him is I don't know about working with him, but everybody he's ever run into who I've ever heard having an encounter with him say he's very, very cool. So it's always cool to hear that, I mean, yes or no?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You almost gave me this look like, I guess we'll go along with that. No, but he is a very cool dude.
He is.
I want to know the meaning of that, because if you could only see your face right now, if for someone listening could only see your face right now.
I can never be a poker player. My face does shit, and I don't know what it does.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it does.
But it's not a story. There's not a story behind that.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Good.
No,
so
I can't control it.
For the record, Alan Alda, good dude.
He's lovely.
Okay. Now I believe you. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it has been established. Alan Alda, you the man.
Yes.
In many, many ways. And I would love to work with him. I think everything he does is fantastic. And even though it's always like fraught with Alan Alda-ness, it's always unique.
That's what I think is part of what makes it lovely.
Yeah. He's just a master at what he does, and always so natural. And I envy that so much. Yes, I do remember being taken to see a movie when I was a little girl, and I think it was kind of a turkey. It was, what was it called? Betsy's Wedding? Oh, yeah. Was that the one with
Molly Ringwald?
Molly Ringwald, where she wore like a top hat in her own wedding.
Yeah.
Why? That's the only detail I remember.
Water.
Yeah.
On the poster.
That's all I remember. Yeah.
You never know.
Weird stuff. But what happened in terms of Alan Alda for that one? I think no matter how terrific you are or how, great your work is, sometimes you just can't predict whether or not it's going to go well. Well, I think that says a lot. I mean, that's pretty much a statement you can put on anything, especially when you're just starting out. The stuff that I did. Well, let's get into it. I know you're from the West Coast.
East Bay. I'm a California girl.
East Bay, California.
Born in Oakland, grew up right outside Berkeley.
Oh, Oakland. I see. I thought you were from San Francisco, which is obviously close, but not the same.
If I say Pinole, people say, what?
Well, yeah.
So
yes.
I either say I'm from San Francisco or I say I'm 10 minutes from Berkeley.
Oh, okay.
It depends on who I'm talking to.
Right.
My lighting designer, who I keep in my stable of people, she's from Northern California.
Okay.
And when she wrote to me, she got very specific, and I thought, I want to interview this girl.
Ah, there you go. So when you're writing an introductory letter, get specific.
Get specific. She emailed me and she said, hi, Miranda. And I hadn't put my name on the thing, and I thought, okay.
Oh, okay.
She said, I went to your website, and I thought, okay, points for you. Mm-hmm. She said, I grew up in Northern California too. In fact, I grew up in Chico. It's like, okay, I went to Chico State.
Very cool.
This is someone who makes the effort.
And we can get into, I do want to get into your growing up stuff, but in terms of making connections, this business is all about making connections.
And keeping them.
And fostering them and letting them grow. But it all starts with those little nuggets that you say, oh yeah, I know that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It reduces us all to that same human level where it's like, yes, we have human connections with other people. And some people forget that. Some people shy away from the connections that bond you with somebody through circumstance, and I think that's a mistake.
Intimacy can be very scary.
It can be. And I think that's probably the actor's biggest challenge is being comfortable with intimacy in front of a lot of people.
I'm going to say for me, it's the opposite.
Okay, sure.
When you're on stage, anything goes, and you are completely safe to take the biggest risks of your lives. Because there's always the safety.
Yeah.
Or what is it? 50 Shades of Grey. There's the safe word.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
It's not something that comes through Lincoln Center.
No, unless you go to 68th and Broadway, which has ticker tape, and that's like the AMC lows.
Yeah, it just happens to be close to Lincoln Center, but it's not officially Lincoln Center.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think it's very easy to do that kind of stuff on stage and be completely vulnerable and naked. But in real life, people think actors are these huge extroverts and outgoing. Personally, I'm not.
Yeah,
I can
think
be loud, but it's so much easier to make those connections and take those risks on stage than it is in real life. Because once you get hurt on stage, there's an end point and it's for real.
I think what you just defined for me, and I'll retract my earlier statement.
I'm really smart.
You are very smart, and that's why I think that's why I enjoy our friendship. And
my huge rack.
Because
I'm a liar.
Yeah. Body issues.
I'm a teacup.
But what you defined is the difference between somebody who is starting as an actor and somebody who becomes an actor, I think. Because what I was thinking in my mind was that first time you go up in front of a bunch of people and you're so vulnerable, you feel so naked because you're you in front of them. Mm-hmm. And then you learn to create that distance between yourself and the person you're playing. And there's a safety in that distance. So I think, that's the difference between what I think I was trying to identify and what you correctly identified, is that to be an actor means to embrace the comfort of being somebody else.
And showing sides of yourself that you wouldn't normally be comfortable showing to someone else in the real world.
Yes, because nobody knows which one's which.
Nobody knows which one's which.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to be incredibly ugly on stage and reveal parts of yourself that are petty and mean and vindictive, I think it can be very scary when you do that on stage to show the world that you're capable of that. Mm-hmm. Because God forbid they might judge you. Yeah. But it's also freeing to be able to do that on stage.
Oh, because it's the
best. It's so much fun to do that, but you're not going to do that in real life. I hope you don't do that in real life.
No. I mean, one of my great pleasures in life is being able to be a complete dick, because I can't allow myself to do that to 99.9% of the people I meet on a daily basis.
Although you may want to.
Although I may want to. It's just like social
etiquette?
Social etiquette and what's the word I'm looking
for?
Karma. Oh, yes, absolutely. Then I don't want to mess around with that in real life. But man, if you're on stage and your character is confronted with me as my character and I'm a dick, I will be a dick. And I love it because it's a safe place to do it.
And as an audience member, I love watching that. I love someone who has absolutely no ego on stage.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree with you 100%. It's so gratifying when you see somebody who's willing to get ugly, to get dirty, to get nasty and all that stuff because unless you are just that walking down the street, you have to delve into parts of yourself that you may not even like.
You have to admit it.
Yeah, you have to admit that there's some joy in letting that thing out, whatever that thing may be. So yeah, I totally agree with you. All right, so growing up East Bay, California, and the town was what?
Okay, I grew up in a town called Terra Hills.
Terra Hills, okay.
Which is, have you ever heard of Richmond, California?
I have now.
Okay.
I don't know if I've heard of it because I'm mixing it up with Richmond, Virginia.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
When people say Portland, I say Maine or Oregon.
Right.
Or they say Disney, I say world or land.
Yes.
I've never been to Florida. Although I hear it's 80 degrees right now.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
So I grew up in Terra Hills and all of the street. I mean, Terra, it's Irish. The roads were, McMorrow and Dolan.
Okay.
And, Flannery Road. And it was middle class, lower middle class. And it was very hilly, California. If you learn how to drive a stick in Northern California, you're set for life.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
And it's not called the emergency brake; it's called the parking brake.
Because this is an argument I've had a couple of times where I always use the parking brake, not the emergency brake, because the mechanics of the car is you're actually using the proper stopping method to stop your car. And I guess if you're in a 50-degree incline. Your street is a 50-degree incline. You kind of need that. You need it,
and you also have to remember, and it's ingrained in you if you grew up where I grew up, to turn the wheels into the curb, so if the car rolls, it doesn't.
I don't do that.
I will have to say one of the smartest things my mother ever did, smartest things ever, was get the neighbor to teach me how to drive a stick instead of doing it herself.
How come?
Well, in sitcoms and on movies, there are, all these funny situations where the parent and the child end up screaming at each other because the parent has decided to teach the child how to drive a car.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was very wise of her to remove herself from the situation.
It's very hard to. Yeah, no, I understand that. It's very hard to remove your own emotions from it. No, you can't be objective as a teacher for your own child certain ways.
And learning how to drive a stick?
That's pretty big. Yeah.
It's pretty big.
I don't know how to do it.
I'll teach you.
I will. If I need to learn, you're the person I will call. But so far, I've been grateful that I haven't had to.
What she would do, she was 4'10", so she would curl up in the seat whenever I would drive, even after I had my license, and she would put her feet on the dashboard and brace herself. Thanks.
Yeah, that's a vote of confidence.
Or if she would see something coming like 300 feet away, she would go,
yeah. Oh, my mom would do that one.
Worst thing to do,
absolutely.
Because you slam on the brakes and then you get angry and she'll say, "Stop yelling at me." It's like you nearly caused a crash.
Yeah. By reacting way too early for something that didn't actually happen.
Stop the car. Red light. Much more apt to listen to that.
Yeah. By the way, there's a car coming towards you. You may want to turn.
Perfect.
Yeah, instead of
there's a deer 1,000 feet ahead. Fuck you.
I think we have to get into the idea that if you're going to drive your parent somewhere, if you're just learning to drive,
chloroform them.
Chloroform them is a good idea. I was going to say treat them like a kidnapping victim and put the bag over their head and take it off when you get there. Because otherwise it's just going to be a series of
or you see the feet trying to pump the brakes that are not there on the passenger side.
That's hilarious.
What's funny is where I grew up, literally on the other side of the tracks, they talk about the wrong side of the tracks, like where Molly Ringwald lived in Pretty in Pink.
Yes.
On the other side of the tracks, and I'm probably going to offend someone, I probably do every day, there was Montalvan Manor. And I'm making this downward gesture.
Which doesn't sound like the other end of the side of the tracks. That sounds very she. It was ironic then.
Yeah. Montalvan Manor, you would go, out of Terra Hills up, there were the train tracks, and then there was a dip down into like this fake valley that was very small. And it was I don't want to say it was the ghetto, but it was like where my dad's side of the family lived. So it was very white trashy.
Okay.
And I mean, it was, you didn't want to go there at night. If you went there during the day, go with an adult. And now today, houses there are being spruced up.
Oh,
and they're
boy.
going for like $600,000. And I'm thinking, it's still Montalban Manor.
Yeah.
And I know that someone's going to call me out on this, but it was the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah, yeah.
We ended up moving to the house with the 4 bedrooms and the swimming pool after we all left for college, of course.
Of course, yeah. When you don't need those things.
When you don't need those things,
Yeah.
even though we desperately wanted those things, and then they got a dog.
Right.
In Pinole.
Pinole. So is it,
Pinole.
that's where you have the big house.
That's where my parents moved to the big house.
Right.
And I went to Pinole Valley High, and that's the East Bay area.
Oh, so wait, when did you move to you started off in
I started off in Terra Hills.
Right.
In
a reasonable part of town.
In a reasonable part of town.
Yeah. And then you moved to Pinole for...
And then they moved to Pinole after I was already in college.
Oh, okay. All right. But you went to Pinole High School.
I did. I went to Pinole Valley High.
So do they share... I guess they shared a school district?
They shared a school
okay.
district. There was Juan Crespi Junior High, the Crespi Conquistadors. We called ourselves the Critters. I don't know why. But we drove there because my mom wanted us to go there. We would drive up and out of Terra Hills over to El Sobrante instead of going just up the hill to Pinole Valley High.
Okay.
And I'm not sure why. And then I went to Pinole Junior High, and then I went to Pinole Valley High, and I'm pointing as if the audience can see me.
That's okay. It's, I think inherently they understand that you're pointing to different parts of California in this room. It's just natural. So at one point in there, did the idea of being an actor, did a performer, when did that all come up?
When I went to Chico State, which is 3 hours north of California, San Francisco, and I thought, well, I want to be a criminology major. I was reading all the books. I was doing all the research. I thought, profiling, I was really into it before it became a thing, which I'm sure everybody says. I discovered it.
You were the hipster of people dying.
I will never be a hipster.
Yeah.
I can't fit into the skinny jeans.
Oh, come on.
Oh, I hate skinny jeans.
You might hate them, but you can fit into them. Come on.
Talk to my director, Steven. He wants me in them all the time. They're the bane of my existence. They make a suction sound when I pull them off. It is so hard to do quick changes in skinny jeans.
Well, that I can understand.
But yeah, and we were off that Monday because it was a travel day. I was supposed to do it like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the criminology stuff, the forensic psychology stuff. Tuesday, Thursday was Acting 100 with the divine Cynthia Lammel. And school started on a Tuesday.
Oh, interesting.
And I went into class, and that was it.
That was it. Had you had any inkling of the interest in that prior? I mean, did you do any of that in high school?
I didn't do any of it in high school. I wrote for the paper. I did gymnastics and softball.
Wow.
I hung out with the drama crowd.
Yeah, but you never got on stage.
Never, ever, ever got on stage. What's funny is my mama was a theater major at Ithaca.
Oh, wow.
She was a musical theater major. I have photos of her doing the Three Penny Opera like in 1963 when she was 18. She was beautiful. And then she came to California after a broken heart, which she wouldn't mind me saying. Well, she might, but she can't do anything about it. And she became a nurse, and she put me into theater when I was a little girl. She took me to El Cerrito's Pocket Theater. They had a playhouse, and then they would do pocket theater for little kids.
Aww.
And I would do things like Charlie's Aunt, Aladdin. She took me to, I remember her taking me to see The Crucible and West Side Story. And I just remember saying to her, I can see his stomach. He's still breathing after Tony was shot.
There's the criminology major, the budding criminology major conflicting with the theater major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she put me in Aladdin, and I remember I was the genie, and I would pull scarves out. And I remember, God, this is so embarrassing. I remember walking on stage, and there's the audience, and I see my parents, and I walk on stage, and I go, hi. I did this huge wave and thought nobody would see me. And I think about it, I cringe.
How old were you at that point?
7.
Aww.
And then I did it in elementary school, and then I didn't do it.
And you just kind of went away from it.
I went away from it. I was starstruck. I would watch, like the Oscars and this, and I didn't do it. And then I found it again in college. And my mom said, You're a theater major. She was so unhappy about it.
What? And did she explain her unhappiness, or was it just...
I want you to get a job with security and a paycheck.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
But it's like, you put me in theater when I was a little kid, and you're surprised?
Yeah, it's not like she shied away from it when she was at Ithaca.
She didn't. She ended up becoming a nurse. But yeah, I did it when I was in college. And I remember the first time I went up on stage, I think people don't realize when they get up on stage for the first time, I didn't know I would like put on a persona as opposed to, unzipping myself for everyone to see. I would do the opposite because I didn't know. And I remember my face would always turn chalk white, and I would get like these two really, really bright hot spots on my cheeks, and it would stay there for hours because I was always so nervous. But it took a while, especially until I got to New York for my master's, to learn how to shed that. I didn't know how.
Yeah. Did you think Chico gave you the skills there, or did it take until you went to... where did you end up going after Chico?
I went to the New School University. I got my master's. It was the Actors Studio, which I'm not really keen on saying because they have a bad rap. And some of it is very earned. I had a tough time at Chico. I was far too eager, which I think was off-putting, and I understand that. When I got there and I discovered theater, I read every single fucking play in that library. I mean, every play.
Wow.
I knew everything. And I knew everything. And I wanted so badly to be great that I was kind of missing the fundamentals. I wanted it and I was ready for it. But it wasn't great training for me. I had a couple of very good, very smart instructors. But I wasn't one of the pets. I only got cast in 2 productions. I think people misread me because if I praised someone, I would pull them aside and praise them.
Oh, okay.
As opposed to being effusive about it.
Yeah.
Because...
it's whatever you chose to do.
It's whatever I chose to do. And also, who am I to say whether or not I liked something? I mean, I'm no great shakes.
But still, you have a right to an opinion, and a positive note should be taken that way, I think, But again, college is its own little microcosm of the world. And
a microcosm. I ended up being paired with this really great musical theater guy for URDAS. They didn't want to send me to URDAS.
URDAS being?
University Resident Theater Association. You go and you audition for a ton of grad schools in one fell swoop.
Oh, okay.
And they kind of pawned me off on the musical theater guy. And they took their pets. And he and I worked, and I went to URDAS, and I did tremendously well. And I thought, I'm not being pigeonholed. This is great. And I ended up auditioning for the Actors Studio. I thought, well, this is a pipe dream. I got waitlisted for all the schools, or I got callbacks, and I was shortlisted, but I didn't get in. I was devastated. Auditioned for Actors Studio, and I got the letter. And I thought, well, I think I need to go to New York anyway. Yeah. So I went.
Yeah.
And it was a fairly new program. They took everybody. They took 80 of us, and they didn't cull people at the end. They didn't cut people. I don't know if I would have been cut or not.
Yeah.
And I think that they should have been more discerning.
Yeah. I guess it's tough when you start a program for the first time to get up and running. You just don't know if anybody's going to drop out anyway. I guess you got to worry about attrition.
You got to worry about attrition. And I think they also didn't mind taking people's money.
Oh, well, that also, yeah.
It was expensive. But in the second year, I had my heart broken for the first time. Truly
It took until you were in graduate school to get your heart broken for the first time. That's a good run.
Not really. I think that I was just a very late bloomer. I had my first kiss like a week before my 18th birthday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Through no choice of my own.
That you didn't have the kiss, or that the kiss happened just before your 18th birthday?
That I didn't get it.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I just, because I just want to clarify there.
I will say that my first kiss was with a guy I had in my intro to acting class.
Oh.
I went to Cynthia and I said, "Can you pair me with Lucas?"
Oh.
And she got this smile on her face and she said, "Yes."
Oh.
And she gave us The Rainmaker by Anne Richard Nash. And then I ended up getting my first kiss, not on stage.
Very nice.
But here in the city, I'm going to say that my second year, I had fallen in love with this beautiful boy who liked me back.
Mm-hmm.
And then second year, we broke up at the very beginning. Then September 11th happened.
Oh, man.
And I realized I've made a huge fucking mistake.
Which one? Which
I had broken
mistake?
up with him, and I was.
Oh, okay.
And I realized I was being really petty.
Mm-hmm.
This is. And he said, "No, you were right." And then I had to see him every day in school.
Oh.
And I became a much better actor.
Well, I think you need those life experiences.
You do.
I think some people who start off as an artist really young nail it, and they just have something in them that gives them the ability to create amazing art.
Mm-hmm.
But some people need that traction underneath them to actually get going. Like this, it's still, I may have mentioned this on the podcast, but it still amazes me to this day that Stephen Stills wrote the song Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, which is an amazing song. He was 22 years old. And the amount of depth and emotion and artistry that went into that song belies the fact that he was 22, but he obviously was incredibly talented.
And an old soul. Some people just need much more seasoning to get to that point where they can bring real life to what they're doing. My professors in undergrad, would always say, people start really becoming good actors, when they hit 40. You get better and better as you get older. And I think if you take someone who is preternaturally talented, like Jennifer Lawrence, it happens. There are people who are just born to do it.
Yeah.
Sean Penn, when he was in his 20s, the universe speaks through him.
Right.
But I was cast as Nina in The Seagull at age 18. Nobody should play Nina at age 18. Yeah. I had another professor who said I would cast a 35-year-old to play Nina. And I get it. I get it. You've lived.
Yeah.
You know love, you know loss, you know lust.
Yeah.
You know revulsion, you know rejection, either as the rejector or the rejectee. You need that traction, as you said.
Yeah. So just looking back for a second, you said you had people, just because in my mind, I think at its best, this podcast can be for somebody who's just sort of on the outside looking in saying, is this for me, or has some worries about the business or this, the education that goes into it. So you're at Chico and they were the pets, as you called them. Now, I don't want you to necessarily name names here.
I won't.
But what happened to them? Like, where are they?
Well, I know that when we went to Erda's, you do your thing, and then at the very end of the day, before it goes into the evening hour, you get your paper of how many callbacks you got.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got 3 times as many. I thought that's really interesting. And it made me feel validated.
Sure.
I think that one of them, and he was a good actor. Mm-hmm. He's now on the West Coast working in, I think, either education or science. Mm-hmm. He's not in the business at all.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, I have no idea.
Huh. So it's not like they're starring in blockbusters.
No.
And my point is not to, belittle them or to insult them, but it's just like you have to try as hard as you can to just maintain some sort of perspective. Like, and it's just really hard to tell that to an 18-year-old. But if you think you are not the pet and you're getting passed over for things, it's not necessarily an indictment of you as a performer. It just means that at that stage, at that time, there's something that teacher likes about that student,
mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily that they're right or that they can see the future, but it's just that's the way things are, and you have to focus on you.
It made me work harder.
There you go.
Which also didn't necessarily serve me well.
Mm.
They would say, well, you didn't get the role, and then you go away and you work harder instead of coming and hanging out in the green room.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
But it made me work harder.
Yeah, I think there is an issue that, you'd love to believe that this is completely a meritocracy, and it's quite the opposite.
Oh.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there is a necessary training, and there is a necessary amount of experience. There's a necessary amount of talent you have to excel. But the social aspect of it is incredibly important.
I sometimes I think it's the key.
Yeah, because it, and I understand it. And if you look at it from a pure business standpoint, who has, if you know this casting director and that other person knows that casting director, it's maybe an even playing field. But if you know that casting director and I don't, they don't know me. They don't know anything I'm capable of, but they know the other person's work.
The devil you know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not that person's not talented and that or that I'm not talented. It's just a matter of that a connection's been made. And that's why those connections that we talked about earlier are so damn important.
They're so important. What I've made it a point to do is if I call back an actor or if I'm interviewing directors for the stuff that I'm doing, I always make it a point to write them an email, even if I didn't cast him or didn't hire him, and say, thank you so much for coming in. I love that you, revealed this in the role, or I love that as a director you asked this question. No one did that. We've decided to go with someone else, but thank you so much for your time. And I've maintained relationships with these people. They've come and seen shows that I've done, and I've gone to see shows that they've done, and it takes 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It takes 30 seconds, and there's a wonderful actor named John Moss who auditioned for a show I did called Greasemonkey, and he was wonderful, but he wasn't quite right for it. And I kept in touch with him, and he came to see the Fringe show that I did. I went to see the Fringe show that he did, and now he's working on a project that I'm doing, and I'm glad, and I'm glad that I had the foresight to not just be a jerk.
Yeah, and I would even argue that you wouldn't be being a jerk. You would be just doing standard operating procedure.
Operating procedure, yes.
Even a nice email that says, sorry, we're going a different direction is maybe just a little bit above and beyond the norm. You don't always get to hear feedback on what you do or don't get. Well, you do get feedback on what you do get, but you don't get feedback on what you don't get. So you're going like not just above and beyond, you're going like 2 steps above and beyond. And I think you're showing that 30-second investment of time can be huge.
I also want them to know that I think they're really good.
Yeah.
If someone's really good, I'm going to want to tell them.
Right. Just because they didn't get that particular whatever doesn't mean they're not good. And I think that's very kind of you. I think that speaks well of you as a person, I think.
Well, I'm amazing. Sorry.
All right. So you've finished up at the actor studio.
Finished up at the actor studio.
And then what did you do? What was your game plan? Or did you have one?
I didn't have one. There was the thing about the actor studio. The acting training was great, but I didn't know at the time that what was lacking was the business training aspect. I didn't know. And that's one of the reasons they're getting a bad rap is the showcase is kind of a joke.
Okay.
They're not getting people in there. They're not using their amazing connections in order to say, hey, the person here who goes to NYU and Juilliard and Yale, look at what we've got over here.
Yeah.
Because some of the people that came out of the actor studio are some of the most drop-dead good actors I've encountered. God, they're so good.
Anybody in your program who was really super active now?
Bradley Cooper.
Oh, there you go. It was in with you.
No, he was a year ahead of me or 2 years ahead of me.
Okay, so fairly contemporary.
Ben Rameka is doing, you can see him all over commercials right now. Joe Rowley is starting to do stuff in TV. I think Rock Coley is doing a couple of things now. There was a Belgian actress named Jesse Wildersmeech, who's one of the best actors I've ever seen and ever worked with. She's so good. She's huge in Europe right now.
No.
She's doing a ton of stuff, and she's bringing it to the States.
Wow, good for her.
But I'm going to say that a lot of it has been self-generated.
Yeah, it's a tough part. You do have the training, but a lot of schools, I mean, this is not just the actor's studio.
No.
It's a fairly common thing where people go through all the training and then they're all ready because they've done all their Shakespeare and they've done all their movement and they've done all their this and that. But then they get into the business and they have no idea how to be in the business.
I had no idea. I would buy my backstage and I would go to the school's computer lab. And I would open up my backstage and I'd have like my chocolate and I would email every single one that applied to me and hope that I got a hit.
Okay.
I would go to open calls. I would send mass mailings to, agents. I never heard anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't get cast a lot. I think I know that I posted on Facebook. I think that they didn't know what to do with me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with myself.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because I mean, I know you, and the first time you and I worked together, it's significant, and not just because we got to be friends, but it was a fascinating project with a fascinating writer director. Just unbelievably so.
This is really funny. I just wrote to a theater in Florida that a friend of mine directed me to. It's in Sarasota Springs. And I wrote to them to ask them if they'd be interested in producing something. And I looked at their season. And in my email, I wrote, "It's funny." I said, "It's a Small World. The second play in your season is written by Zayd Dohrn, whom I worked with in New York on the project that you're talking about."
Yeah. Zayd Dohrn, if people aren't familiar with him, is a playwright and director and unbelievably talented who has just an amazing background. I mean, most people don't have a fraction of his, early life experience.
And he's gracious.
Oh, very, very gracious. So I don't know if you know this. When we did that show, the show was called Shameless. It was done at the Producers Club. That's right.
It's janky.
It had a short run, but it was a fantastic cast, and everybody was really cool. And one night, after the show, they brought over Dr. Ruth Westheimer to say hello.
You remember that? Okay. I do. She was so little.
She was tiny, but she was very complimentary, and
yes, she was.
And she was great. But I don't know if you knew this one. A few nights later, I'm on stage, and there's moments where we're kind of looking out. It's kind of quiet moments, and I thought out of the corner of my eye, I recognized somebody from high school, and I was like, "Oh wow, that's so weird. I don't know why they would be here." Later, after the show, we come down the stairs of the Producers Club, and it wasn't somebody I went to high school with. It was Natalie Portman.
Yes, I remember that.
You remember that? Okay, you were there for it. Yeah,
I thought she was very pretty. I remember passing her.
Yeah, and I didn't want to recognize. I didn't want to like make a big deal out of it. So I was like, "Oh, hi, thanks for coming." I hope I didn't big shot her or something like that, because I'm no big shot. But it was cool that one show, and it shows how connected that family is.
Yes.
That Natalie Portman and Dr. Ruth Westheimer came to see our show. So that's the Zayd Dohrn story. But for you personally, you played who in that show?
I think her name was Rosa. I was just out of grad school. I was 26 years old. And I played I'm so white. I'm such a California white girl. He cast me as a 55-year-old Puerto Rican mother of a 25-year-old.
Yes.
On stage.
Yes. So you played the mother of somebody your own age.
I played the mother of someone who in real life was 10 years older than I was.
Yes, and that was Diana Hurd, who was also very, very cool. But it was definitely a stretch to cast you as that from an age standpoint. But I thought you did amazingly well.
Other than the Puerto Rican accent, I can do Australian, I can do Scottish, I can do British, I can do any European accent. If you give me a Latin accent, it's not my DNA. I will murder it.
And you have no Latin roots, or?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
What is the origin of your last name?
Jonte is French.
It is French, okay.
But my great-great-grandmother was from Mongolia.
Oh, wow.
And my mom's family came from Eastern Europe. And people think that I'm European.
Mm-hmm.
people think that I'm Italian. Well, Italian, Italy is in Europe.
Yeah, yeah.
But the Latin accent, I did it such a disservice. Like people, I'm embarrassed by how offensive my Latin accent was. No, it's true. And of course, I was self-conscious about it on stage, which made it worse. But it was a fun role to play because there were definite objectives that she had. She wanted to get her daughter married off. She wanted to make sure her daughter had security so that she could relax. And her tactics were, I'm going to bring her, revealing clothes to wear and try to get her to put them on. And then there was the flirtation with the older gentleman, whom I think was 70.
Yeah, yeah.
But from an acting standpoint, it was a lot of fun. But it was frustrating because I didn't know how to make myself be seen as an actor the way I felt inside.
Yeah. I think, I remember talking to you about it too, and how you had headshots that were really, really nice. But I think, I would say from a casting standpoint, you're ethnically ambiguous, which is a big thing now. But I think even back then, obviously being cast as somebody who is, I guess, twice as old as you were at the time kind of indicates that you have a little bit of an older look, but it's not in a negative way. It's just you look more mature than your age at the time.
I remember my thesis project in grad school. I was 25, turning 26. I did Miss Julie, and Jean Lasco, my professor who just passed away in the last month, came to me and he said, well, we're going to have to change the age. We're going to have to make her, early 30s. I said, why? He said, because you're in your early 30s. I said, gee, I'm 25. And so when I was in my 20s, I would get cast as older.
Yeah.
Now, in my mid-30s, I'm playing my age or younger.
Interesting.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah. I kind of hit that too for a little while. And
you're 30.
Yeah, I'm 30. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm in the
He's
negative.
Blushing. You're blushing.
I'm blushing because I'm not 30. But it is interesting because I was convinced and I think it came true that I came into my adulthood at 18 kind of looking like this. So I needed to catch up to my age. And I think that's where you are now too.
And when I look at the headshots I had done then that I showed you, they look like a woman in her mid-30s.
Yeah.
I could use those headshots now, but they're a little too glamorous for me.
Yeah, they weren't standard headshots the way they do them now.
And the one that I have now was done as a publicity shot for a show that I took to Chicago. I said, hey, Ben, can you just do this real fast so I can make a poster? And it turned out great.
That's always nice.
It was completely unexpected, and it's great.
Yeah. So you went through, and in the Facebook post that you put up there, brilliantly detailed some of the things that you went through, but it ended up making you sort of take a creator's tack for your own career, which means if there's not opportunities for you, you make your own opportunities and you put your own stuff out there.
Yeah.
So what was the first project you worked on?
Here in New York?
Well, you tell me.
Well, when I think about it, I took a year and I studied in Tübingen, Germany. I studied German and theater, and I joined the provisional players at the University of Tübingen, and I began doing shows with them. And we did Picasso at the Le Pan Agile, and the director had a bit of a nervous breakdown, and she asked me if I could take over as director. I was playing Suzanne, and I said, okay. And I stepped in and I did it. And I thought, oh, I think I want to do Seascape with Sharks Dancer. So I took it to another director of the group and I said, will you direct me in this? She said, sure. And then I thought, I want to do something else. So I asked my boyfriend at the time, who was an actor, if he would direct me in it. And he said, sure. And I produced it. And then when I got back to Chico, I said, I want to do Miss Julie. And I produced it. And I just remember driving down, small town Chico in my pickup truck. I can't believe that I did this. And I can't believe that they said yes. I went into this local, antique store and I said, that's a really nice icebox from 1900. Can I borrow it? They said, sure.
Wow.
And I gave them a deposit and I gave them a promissory note and I loaded it up and we used it. my first summer here, I said, I want to do Romeo and Juliet. I'm never going to be cast as Juliet, so I want to do it. And it was terrible. It was the worst production ever. It was awful. I still can't believe that I was able to do it.
Right.
Because when you're, young and dumb, you're young and dumb and you do shit.
Yep.
And I did it at the Greenwich Street Theater. I'm pointing south.
Yes, that is due south.
And then I did it again the next summer with a show called Refuge. I did grad school, and I've been trying to get cast. My mom got sick, and I really backed away from trying. And I started writing a play. And I started writing it. You saw the first draft read.
Yeah.
And I've always felt badly, and I've always wanted to apologize for you for sitting all those stage directions that I didn't know I had to include.
Oh. Remind me, because this is a few years ago, and it was right around the time my daughter was born. So yes. I'm mishmashing it with a lot of stuff. So what happened with the script?
Well, it was the first draft, and Mara was a PhD candidate in feminist literature.
Your lead character.
My lead character. And I'm so fucking glad that someone said, I think instead of having her talk about feminism, have her be it. And it was just, I didn't know that you didn't need a lot of stage directions read during a reading. And it was just stage directions. You don't need to know that he slips her blouse off her shoulder. You didn't need to know that.
He undresses her, probably gets the point across.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I didn't know. And then after another reading, I finally lit upon what it was that I wanted her to do. And she restored vintage cars. So I put her in a man's world instead of having her study what it's like to be in a man's world.
Interesting.
Someone suggested making it more active, and it was some of the best advice I ever got.
Sure. Yeah.
It took a while to alight on what it was that she did.
And then the name of the play became
Greasemonkey. It's one of the best things my ex-boyfriend ever gave me.
Was that the first long, full-length play you ever wrote?
It was the very first play
you're working on a new
wrote.
I wasn't sure I thought your new one was also full-length.
Greasemonkey was the first full-length play I wrote. And then I wrote a fun little 10-minute, I call it a palate cleanser play.
Which one's that?
It's called All in a White Trash Pie.
Oh, okay.
White trash pie. It's a real dessert.
What is white trash pie?
Okay, so you take pistachio pudding. You make pistachio pudding with 2 cups of milk. Then you throw in an entire thing of Cool Whip. So it makes it nice and fluffy.
Wow.
And then you throw in crushed pineapple. Ooh. And then you throw in the fruity marshmallows, like the colored marshmallows.
Sure.
And you mix it all up. And
sounds really good.
It's green. It makes you sick, and everybody loves it.
Yeah. It's like white trash tend.
It is. It is the epitome of.
Did you learn that going down the hill when you weren't supposed to?
Actually,
what's it called, Manor?
Montalban Manor. No. God, I'm going to get so much shit for that. Someone, I'm not going to say who, and I hope they never listen to that, brought it to our house while we were in Terra Hills for Thanksgiving.
Oh.
And now I have to make it every year.
Of course.
Of course.
That's what these experiences are all about, adapting things that you experience and then bringing them forward and making them part of your experience, which is awesome. All right, so you had that palate cleanser and then so what happened with Greasemonkey? We should so where did that go?
I met my co-producer who said, "This is one of the best plays I've ever read. I want to help you with it." I said, "Awesome." And we started raising money for it. And then I had a relative come into town.
How did you go about raising money, by the way?
I thought about a kissing booth in Times Square. And I'm really glad that someone said no, because it can get really, really, really ratchet.
Yeah.
I'll
give you $10 right now. Just let me have the whole day.
I'm really sorry that you think I'm worth only $10.
No, I'm sorry. No, this guy, the character, thinks that you're only worth $10. He was looking for a bargain.
You're adorable. We did what was it, guest bartending.
Okay.
3 hours. We made like $600 in 3 hours.
Wow.
We did cabarets. with wonderful singers, and we would do like a scene from Greasemonkey, something fun and sexy.
Yeah.
We did an Indiegogo campaign. Indiegogo and Kickstarter are not the best platforms for theater. They're great for gaming, for movies, for technology, not for theater. It's just the way it is.
I have my theory, but why do you think they don't work so well for theater?
Because theater doesn't really make money.
Well, maybe, yeah, I guess that too. But my theory is that unlike other media, you have to be present to see theater and to see the end result. So to get somebody to put money into it for something that they can never see because they live in California, it's really hard for them to get really excited about it. But if
I'll buy that. I'll
your
totally buy that.
local people, like, okay, sure, yeah, I'll throw in $10, and when it's ready to go up, I'll come see it.
Yeah.
But it feels too removed. But I think you're right also in that it just doesn't make money, and people are worried about funding things that are just going to tank.
Or that they suspect might tank, or that they have no proof will do well.
Right, exactly. The track record of theater, especially off Broadway, is sketchy at best. No matter how committed and how dedicated and how strong a person behind it like yourself might be, it's still, there's that reputation you have to overcome.
Absolutely. If someone says to me, "Hey, you want to go see this off," I'm going to say, "I have a date." With Orphan Black.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Friday Night Lights on Netflix.
I have tickets to the dentist. I can't really. Yeah. So.
Which is unfortunate because it's a snobbery that you as an artist, and I mean you as me, that I shouldn't have.
Yeah. But I do. Yeah, it's there. All right. So you did all this fundraising. We
sold T-shirts that said Greasemonkey. People bought them.
So I think that's a very generic, organic way to raise money.
Freudian slip.
I don't know where generic came in, but I could just be dumb. But it's an organic way to raise money because it's like a give and take. You're giving them something back in exchange for the money that they're donating, so that there's an immediate remuneration of the money they put in. So it's like, yes, they will also get this feeling of having helped produce something, but they can walk away with something knowing, okay, at least I didn't leave empty-handed. And I think that's very smart. People
at the Y walk into my class wearing the Greasemonkey shirt still.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really cool. It makes me feel really good.
Sure.
So we had a couple of cabarets. We did online fundraising, the other stuff that I talked about. The show went up. I had 2 directors quit.
Wow.
And of course, everyone who's high maintenance says, "I'm not high maintenance." It really had nothing to do. This is just going to say it had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
The first director was afraid of all of the transitions because there were many scenes and of all the costume changes. The second director, whom I'd known in grad school, who's a terrific director, he's fairly brilliant. He said, "I want you to, tinker with the first act." And I did. He said, "This is great." And his suggestions, he was spot on. He said, "Okay, now I have a problem with the second act." And then he wrote me a letter and he said, "The fact that I have a problem with the second act and that I want you to change it to what I see means that I'm not the right guy for you."
Interesting.
And I thought, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I thought it showed a lot of integrity.
Sure.
His name is Brian Chakotky, and he's such a good fucking director. And it was one of the greatest things he could have done for me. And I thought, I was sad to lose him, but I thought maybe he was just supposed to be in the picture in order for me to make the play stronger, which I did.
Yeah. Oh, there's all those synchronicity things that happen.
All the synchronicity things. And then I met, we put out an ad for directors. I ended up having like 17 interviews.
Wow.
The second one I had was Steven. And as soon as I sat down and sat across from him, I got this feeling for calm.
Stephen Brodebeck,
the best dressed guy in New York, who texted me the other day. Well, what did he say? When you have a radio interview, show up and it turns out it's for TV. Which is why I put on makeup today, just to be on the safe side. Because otherwise I look like a ragamuffin. And he and I think he was just supposed to come my way. Things that I had removed from the script, Stephen and I would be in rehearsal and he would say, "It feels like there's a scene missing. It feels like there's a bridge missing." And I would say, "Well, I took out this scene that was 10 lines long." And I would explain it to him and he would say, put it back in. That belongs there.
That's great.
And we just were like peanut butter and jelly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, we are sort of getting to the end of this, but so I don't want to skip over anything. Greasemonkey went up at first where?
It went up in February 2013 at 440 Studios at Astor Place. Mm-hmm. It was great. I realized afterward I need to remove a character. And everybody loved it, and people are still asking about it.
That's great.
I then wrote a 10-minute one-woman piece when a friend of mine asked for solo show submissions. Mm-hmm. And Stephen directed it, and people really responded to it. And I realized, this is part of a larger piece, which is the piece that I've just written called St. Francis. Mm. It's, I want to call it a long one act. There's no intermission. I think of it as a 1-2 punch. It's 59 pages long. Mm-hmm. Takes place in Northern California, which is where Greasemonkey is also set. Mm-hmm. And can I tell you what it's about?
Yeah, no, please.
It's about a former veterinarian who kind of approaches life like a rugby player. You know, she's loud, she drinks, she's unapologetic, and she probably has an overinflated sense of justice. Mm. She has turned from a veterinarian into running a no-kill shelter for dogs.
Wow.
So she constantly deals with, the worst of the worst. And she's in a small town where everybody knows everybody else's business. And she is losing her shelter because the city council, whom she butts heads with, because she's loud and not polite, has given the green light to Starbucks to take over. And they refuse to sell her a lot and a building over on Harkness Road so that she can move her stuff over there. So her hands are tied. She doesn't know what to do. Mm. And her high school sweetheart comes back, and she has a hugely estranged relationship with her father. Very estranged. And she is reduced to having to go to him to ask for money once she is finally granted the sale of Harkness Road, but they only give her a week to do it.
Mm. It's a lot of stuff in there.
It is. It's a lot of conflict. I like to say, a little bit of drama, a little bit of blood, a little bit of rom-com.
Yeah, a few pets.
And yeah.
Where's that one going? Where's that at?
We just submitted it to the New York Fringe Festival, where we had a shit ton of success last year with John Minnigan's Breaking the Shakespeare Code, one of the best plays I've ever read, ever.
And for that one, how were you involved in that one?
I produced it and acted in it.
Okay.
I got so much gray hair. Oh my God! Thank God for root touch-up. We took it to Chicago so I could get my equity card, and then we did it at the Fringe Festival. It was sold out. It got rave reviews, and now we need to raise money to do a commercial run of it.
Wow.
Because it's got a market for it. St. Francis, we won't know until 8 weeks from now.
Oh boy.
Whether or not.
End of April.
I'm eating a lot of waffle fries. I am.
Well, I hope the Girl Scout cookies helped.
Oh, they disappeared that night. They were gone.
You're my daughter's favorite customer.
Those boxes were. I was not going to share this with anybody.
Yeah. Just plow through them. That's what Girl Scout cookies are for.
They are. They're not for sharing.
That box is for show. Like it should just be one big cookie because that's how you're going to treat it anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gotta love Samoas. Those are my favorite.
Awesome.
They're my favorite.
Oh, they're the best. Freeze them up a little bit, get them cold.
I love putting them in the freezer. Let's be friends.
But let's be friends. Because we weren't coming into this. Come on. So what else? What else for you?
What else for me? People are saying I'm panicking because I don't have any projects, officially lined up, and people are saying relax and breathe, and I'm like, go fuck yourself. I don't. I suck at that.
Yeah. So
what I've decided to do is, I mentioned John Minnigan, who wrote Shakespeare Code. Lovely guy. He lives in Framingham, Massachusetts. He has a bunch of 10-minute plays that are terrific. And I said to Stephen, my director, who's in Missouri right now working on a new show, he's doing a lot of development work. I said, what if we did another evening, and I'm pointing this way because that's the amphitheater. We did it last year.
Yeah.
In the amphitheater. I said, what if we do another fundraising evening and we do 2 or 3 of John's 10-minute plays along with one of the longer scenes from St. Francis, and we'll serve wine and charge for it.
There you go.
And he said, I think that's a great idea.
Cool. So we'll keep an eye out for that.
That'll be in early May.
That's awesome.
I'm excited about it. I need to have something to do.
You got to keep your feet moving, man.
You got to keep your feet moving. I don't know. I have no idea if we'll get into the Fringe Festival. I had a sense last year with Shakespeare Code that we would. This year, I have no idea.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, toes crossed.
How do people keep in touch with you?
You can stalk me on Twitter. I'm at Mara Sofar, MARASOFAR. Or you can go to my website. It's my last name. It's Hey Jonte. It's HeyJonte.com. And that's my website. You can find me there. You can find our Facebook page, our Twitter page.
So any of the projects you can get through there.
Any of the projects you can get through there. And I think that's it.
Sounds good to me.
I'm so glad.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for asking me. When you first asked, I was like, are you sure?
Of course. Well, the conversation with an old friend just happens to have microphones in front of us. That's always fun.
It's always fun. Thanks, Dave.
Miranda Jonte. She's great. So cool to hang out with her. So cool to hang out at Lincoln Center. Go check that place out. The Film Center is amazing. Very happy for Miranda and all the stuff she's doing and how she's figured out ways to express herself through her acting, as well as her writing and creating opportunities for herself. That's just great stuff. And if you'd like to keep track of what she's doing and get involved, you can always go to her own website, heyjonte.com. That's HeyJonte.com. You can follow her on Twitter at MaraSofar. And don't forget about the event coming up on Tuesday, May 12th at 7 p.m. That'll be at the Eleanor Monroe Film Center in the amphitheater. That's 144 West 65th Street, just west of Broadway. Tickets are $30, and you can find out all the information about the event at HeyJonte.com. It's going to be great, and I'm actually going to be involved, so double your pleasure, double your fun, something like that. Thanks to Miranda for setting up that interview at Lincoln Center and for being a cool friend. All right, that about does it for another edition of Bring Your Own Lunch. Glad you can join us. Don't forget to check out banooba.net, banooba.net, to find out where the music from the beginning, middle, and end of this show comes from. They are great. And don't forget to go to our website, bringyourownlunch.com, for all the information about this show, as well as all the shows, past, present, and presumably future. And you can send me a personal email, dave@bringyourownlunch.com. Get involved on social media, facebook.com/bringyourownlunch. Follow us on Twitter at BYOL Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at bringyourownlunch. Find us on YouTube. Find us on SoundCloud. And, of course, if you have a moment, go to iTunes. Rate, review the show, subscribe to the show, tell iTunes that we're doing some good stuff here, and they'll tell other people to download as well. And if you do subscribe, you find out about who's going to be on the show, and you get it downloaded to your device without even thinking. Whenever it comes out, boom, it goes right to you. So if you want to beat the rush, if you want to beat the crowd, subscribe. It'd be good. I'd love it. Stay tuned for Jimmy Jack's Cowpunch Hour, followed by Mansoor and the Fish. And until next week, when I have another great guest lined up, this is Dave. I'll see you next Tuesday. Knock, knock, knock.